Can you see yourself? Can you see your future? Is it good? Is it glowing? What's AI going to do to our world? What's our world coming to? Well, Black Mirror is an anthology series that explores that. And tonight, some of the explorers with us to go on this adventure are, in my upper left corner, Vicki Dykes.
Hi, I'm Vicki Dykes. I'm from Central Alberta. I'm an actor, and tonight I'll be reading Action and Descriptions and Booming Man, Girl, and Anna.
Wonderful. Do you want to tell them anything else about what you do and where they can find you or what's going on?
Right now I'm focusing on a yoga show that I'm going to be putting on YouTube. So that's my focus. So I'll let everyone know where they can go and see when I have those addresses.
Awesome. All right, they're going to get some exercise there in shape, and you can see in the show they get some as well. Next, we have Erin Lillis.
Hello, I am Erin Lillis, voice actor, No Sleep podcast. You can find me tonight playing, what do we got? We got voiceovers, Swift, Oliver, Hammond, and Judge Wraith, or Wrath, depending on how you pronounce it. That's a tease for later. And you can find me at erinlillis.com.
Wonderful. All right, next we have Angel Peterson.
Hello, I'm Angel Peterson, and I will be this guy here.
Wow, you have a lot of credits up there. Is that 15 million? Impressive. Merits, I'm sorry.
Merits, yeah.
All right, cool.
Stuff that I've done lately. I just edited 2 mini docs, 10 minutes in length, for a friend of mine who's in Vegas. Who was in Spain at a film festival. So, and now she's
film
Vegas.
festival. Cool.
So that'll be, I think, in November, going through some.
So do you like editing? Do you want more editing work? If so,
Love
where do they
editing.
contact you? Do you have any editing stuff out there they can see?
I mean, how do you contact me? I don't know. Here is probably the easiest if you're
Send
seeing
Table
this.
Read Tuesday a message and we'll get it to Angel.
Yeah.
Just as a testimonial, Angel edited my first demo reel, and it's a lovely job. So thank you. If you want one like it, contact her.
Look at helping out people.
Yeah, it's fun. And yeah, it's this one was a challenge because it was very time constricted, and I had to do it I had 2 of them to do in a very short period of time. So I did what I could.
Good job. Thank you. Next we have Kat.
Hi, I am Kat Wilson from Gig Harbor, Washington. And tonight I'll be reading The Host, The Polite Voice, Kai, A Woman, an Interviewer, and Judge Charity. And when I'm not reading here, you can find me reading Shakespeare with 2 households in Fair Corona on Facebook.
You said Gig Harbor?
Yes, Gig Harbor, Washington.
All this time, I just realized it. So you live right close to my brother by Seattle, right?
It's about an hour south of Seattle. Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. I could visit you someday, maybe.
That's awesome. We got to do more in person Table Read Tuesday meetups. But
all right, an actual table?
That would be kind of cool someday. Yes, we should. Until then, next we have Morgan Toll.
Hey guys, I'm Morgan. I am a talent partnership executive at Streamily.com. I'm voice actor here in Los Angeles. My project Slayers comes out sometime in October. I can't remember the date. And you can find me on Instagram at Morgan Elizabeth Toll.
Sweet. Release date is October 21st, 2020. No, that's something different. Never mind. I tried to help, I failed. Next, we have Heather Lee Cameron.
Hello, my name is Heather Lee Cameron. I'm an actor / voice actor. writer slash freelance journalist slash script writer, and I'm an independent filmmaker. And I spent a lot of time at Calgary International Film Festival saying these exact words, so I know them by heart. Anyway, you can find my work on Heather, the freelancer, or you can find it on my YouTube channel, The Storm and Latter-day Saint. Tonight, I'll be playing singer Dustin, insistent voice Abby, and Glee. I am always looking for work, and you can email me about that through my social medias, or you can contact me at heather.lee.cameron@gmail.com. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
And we lost
All right.
someone.
What was that? I missed it. I'm
We
sorry.
lost someone.
They're just hiding for the time being, hopefully. All right. We'll get those dates afterwards, but till then, we'll get started. So we're going to share this script. Black Mirror, episode 2, season 1, 15 million mirrors. And this one doesn't say who it's by, so we'll have to 15 merits. We want to give credit to the writers like we do. They
Yes.
fight so hard on the strike. We have good news on the strike.
Yes, and the strike is over. Well, maybe very close.
Well,
Like,
the strike
so-
for the writers is over. The strike for the actors is still ongoing.
Yes.
The
but
strike
that's-
ends at midnight tonight.
Ooh, the inside
for the
scoop.
actors too? Morgan?
What?
For the actors too?
No, for the
Oh, just
writers.
the right- Okay.
Yeah. The official strike ends at 12:01 a.m.
All right.
Pacific.
So I'm glad the writers got what they want, and I hope the actors are able to come to an equally fair resolution.
That's a good sign. All right, writers, Charlie Booker and Connie Hug. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. All right. Vicky, if you could be so generous.
Black Mirror, interior, Bing's tiny room, day 1. I'm not kidding about this being a tiny room. We're seeing it from above, and all 4 corners fit comfortably on the screen. Bing, early 20s, male, is asleep in a small bed. So small, he's almost touching both walls. Despite being undersized, the bed touches 3 of the surrounding bedroom walls. Walls which seem to be made of black reflective glass. Except they're not black glass, they're screens. And now they flicker into life with a startup noise to display a computer-generated sunrise over a cornfield. A cheesy screensaver to start the day on every wall of the room. Gentle acoustic guitar accompanies the pixelated sunrise. A cartoon cockerel leaps atop a fence post somewhere near Bing's head. It opens its beak and crows. Bing grunts, swats the cockerel away by swiping in the air. That's what these walls are like, monolithic iPad screens working in harmony. He lies there for a moment, rubbing his eyes. Up pops a short loading message on the wall. As the software scans his face, meanwhile, he inserts 2 small rubberized earpieces, 1 in each ear, part of his morning routine. As he slips them in, we hear a little ambient background noise on the soundtrack, soothing background minimal stuff like he might hear in a spa. And then, with a soft ping sound, the system logs him in, just like the Xbox Kinect system recognizing someone from their face alone. A small top Trump style dialogue box appears on the wall containing vaguely toon-like CGI doppel of Bing, rather like an Xbox Live or Will customizable topple, accompanied by a number, 15,002,944 M. NB, rather than a small m, how about some kind of iconic logoet, like the Bitcoin logo? http://mining.bitcoin.cz/Bitcoin.png. Bing swipes his hand up in the air to guide a movement. The sunset scrolls upwards like a theatrical curtain, Behind it, notionally at any rate, an LCD clock. The time is 7:30 a.m. Bing grunts, sits up and rolls to the edge of his bed. He stands up and enters the bathroom. Interior bathroom mirror, day 1. We can hear a shower, see condensation on a mirror, which has an M number on it, ticking down. It falls 2 numbers every second. The water stops. The counter stands at 15,002,599. Bing, with a towel wrapped around him, is now in the mirror, which is also doubling as a screen. Icons hover near the side and a ticker tape providing entertainment news scrolling across the top. Using a wall-mounted mini pump, like a miniature petrol pump nozzle, he dispenses a small amount of bright green toothpaste onto a brush. The number on the screen drops another 15 points to 15,002,584 M. He brushes, spits, rinses. Bing checks his face in the mirror. Suddenly, his reflection is replaced with the face of an attractive, scantily clad young woman moaning. She seems to be having sex. There's a lascivious growling voiceover.
New from Wraith Babes, the hottest girls in the nastiest situations.
Bing makes a shooing gesture in the air before him, as though telling it to shoo. The video freezes, and over it, a dialogue box pops up. Resume? He shoos it away again. There's a soft ping as the system registers this. Skipping incurs 1,000 penalty. Resume? He impatiently shoos it away again, and the number counter drops 1,000 to 15,001,584 M. The advert is replaced by his reflection once more. Surveying his reflection uninterrupted this time, Bing realizes he needs a shave. He pulls out the same nozzle as earlier, cups his hand over the end, taps an icon on the mirror. Shaving foam stooms out of it. The number on the screen drops down some more, and Bing keeps an eye on the screen. He's trying to stop the nozzle at a nice round number, like someone filling a car with petrol, trying to stop on an even figure. 15,001,500 M. He fails. He gets 15,001,499 M and looks marginally deflated. He selects an icon with a musical note on it. Music starts to play, causing his M number to drop another 1,000.
And where is it? Dropping another 1,000 to 15,499,000. Surprisingly, the music is a cover version of ABBA song, the opening bars of I Have a Dream. Interior lift, day 1, morning. Bing is standing in a lift amongst a group of people in identical clothing, all looking ahead, a bit bored, all listening to their own music. Maybe one is nodding their head in time to a different beat. They're like computers. Interior pedal chamber 59A, day 1. The bland ABBA continues as Bing, now clothed in discreet gray sweatpants and a slim gray t-shirt, halfway between a uniform and exercise gear, walks through a pedal chamber filled with futuristic exercise bikes. It's a bit like a modern gym.
I have a dream of fantasy to help me through reality.
As he walks past, a shy, relatively bookish girl sitting on a bike looks at him. Her name is Swift. We also see a ginger-haired guy called Kai watching a video of Selma Telsey on his screen. At the far end of the chamber, a slightly out-of-shape cyclist called Oliver puffing away. He looks red and sweaty. Bing sits up upon something resembling an exercise bike with a plasma screen mounted on the wall in front of him. As he sits down, the screen recognizes and signs him in. The bike adjusts to his settings, shifting the seat slightly for his height and weight. The Toon-style avatar known as Doppel appears on the screen.
And my destination makes it worth the while.
And then accompanying the avatar is a number again, 15,499,000. He starts to pedal and the number starts to rise, roughly 1 digit per revolution. It's about the point that we realize the figure equate to the distance pedaled. The number, still rising as he pedals, shrivels to the bottom right where it remains visible.
Pushing through the darkness, still another mile, I believe.
Around here, go ahead.
Around here, we cut to a wider shot. Outside of Bing's little bubble, we can no longer hear the music, just the quiet whooshing of all the exercise bikes in this quadrant, and the occasional bit of noise leaking from the peddler's headphones. Up pops a series of available streams, not unlike the album view in iTunes. Bing can swipe through them. The first says, now playing, and it shows a woman called Selma, hotshot sensation Selma, performing I Have a Dream. Bing swipes it off screen, like he's flipping pages. The music abruptly stops. The next is a show called Brother Guts. It looks like some kind of reality show. A group of fat people are standing in tissue paper smocks in some kind of indoor fun space. He quickly flips past this and selects Rolling Road, which displays a tune-style landscape rolling past as he pedals. His merit total has been rising as he pedals. It stands at 15,559,000 and then decreases by 250 mil to 15,309 meters. Quite quick glimpses of Swift, several bikes down. She's sneaking a glance at Bing, who's oblivious. As Bing watches the rolling road and Swift watches Bing, we pull out to reveal they aren't alone. In fact, they are exceptionally far from alone. This place is like a warehouse, a vast warehouse filled with hundreds of people on hundreds of cycles, all of them pedaling, all of them staring at screens on the handlebars. There are cleaners passing between the bikes, wearing yellow jumpsuits, scooping up discarded water bottles and face towels with little dustpan and broom combos. Every one of them, without exception, is overweight. And next to Bing's pedal, a cycle belonging to a stocky 28-year-old called Dustin. He's wearing identical clothing to Bing. His credit number is increasing considerably faster because he's pedaling faster. Dustin is watching Bother Nuts Guts. He sees a bit more of the show on his screen. In front of the fat people, a host is standing with a man and woman, both examples of prime physical fitness in revealing black swimwear, and they've got gunge hoses.
3, 2, 1, go.
The host kicks into life. The hoses squeal with glee as they aim the jets at the fat people, who get knocked over by the spray, their tissue smocks dissolving almost instantly. Beneath, they're wearing thongs.
Go for the face.
The girl with the hose aims at one of the fat men's faces. He sputters and falls on his arse, and she laughs. He guffaws as one of the fat men tumbles over. Then it cuts to a shot of said fat guy with blood pouring from his nose and mouth. And the host finds this hilarious.
Ouch. Wash the blood off.
They direct a hose near his face.
Check a bun. That's it.
They lob cream buns at the fat guy's bleeding face. He's crying.
Oh, not hungry? That's a first, eh?
Dustin laughs like a drain with a pig in it. As Dustin laughs, at the side of the screen he's watching, a little scanning icon at the top side of the screen spins round and then resolves to a little icon of his avatar's head with a laughing expression. This is accompanied by a soft ping. At the top of Bing's screen, a small notification briefly appears. Dustin liked Bother Guts. next to a small image of Dustin's avatar's face. Interior snack area, day 1. Now, this is the snacking kitchenette area of the pedal chamber. It's where people buy energy drinks and snacks. It's not dissimilar to the kind of food court you get in the Westfield Center. Bustling yet anonymous, everyone in identical gray clothing. Swift, sitting at one of the tables, notices Bing as he enters and approaches one of the wall panels. It brings up a vending machine as he approaches. Bing is attempting to buy a drink and an apple from it. The drink plops into the tray and immediately, but the apple doesn't seem to come out. He puts his hand in the dispensing slot, frustrated. His total merits have risen since we last saw them, but now dropped by 5,500 M from 15,014,829 to 15,009,329 M. Behind him, Swift emerges shy.
That one does that sometimes. Hang on.
She reaches into the slot.
There's a little nubbin in here somewhere.
We hear a soft clunk. The apple falls into the tray, and Swift pulls it out and offers it to him.
Almost the only real thing in there, and even that's probably grown in a petri dish, you know?
She laughs nervously, faintly. Well, meanwhile, the vending machine is replaced by an animation showing people who like image of apple, also liked image of banana.
Thank you.
Bing takes the apple and sits down to eat it. He senses Swift wants to talk a bit longer. Behind Bing, we can catch glimpses of the sheer scale of the atrium. Interior pedal chamber 59A, day 1. Bing is back on his bike, pedaling into the rolling road. Swift, playing an avatar violin game, glances at him. Beside Bing, Dustin is now watching lesbian pornography on his screen, intensely, like he's trying to cycle inside it. At the far end of the chamber, Oliver is clearly having difficulty cycling. He seems on the brink of some kind of asthma attack. An overweight female cleaner passes by Dustin's bike. She stares at the screen for a moment. Dustin spots her reflection, grimaces, and addresses it.
Oi, for crap's sake. It's a mood kill, blubber not. Cheers for the reflection.
The cleaner just looks at him.
1 minute I'm in Slitsville, the next there's a haunted pig gawping at me. They may as well have cut to a war crime.
He stops pumping the handles and reaches for a teeny tiny bottle of water. Unscrews the top, sweating. He continues glaring at her. She goes to move.
Oi!
He finishes the bottle and tosses it by her feet.
Mr. Bit.
She glumly sweeps the bottle into her contraption and starts moving off.
Pie ape!
Dustin starts rewinding the footage to the point where he was interrupted. He glances at Bing.
See that? What a flippin' pie ape.
Bing looks back at his screen. He doesn't really want to talk to Dustin. Just then, Oliver has another asthmatic coughing fit. Both Bing and Dustin look at him.
Ah, he'll be in lemon before long and all.
Bing keeps pedaling and remains focused on his screen. Interior, Bing's tiny room, evening 1. It's later that same evening. Bing is relaxing on the bed, playing a video game. He's using his finger to mime a gun. Fat CGI people are running at him, making grotesque grunting sounds as they approach. He's blowing their heads off. It's all very graphic. He looks bored. Suddenly, the action pauses. Time for a commercial break. The game dissolves, and it's replaced by a hyper-graded shot of an attractive female singer hitting a climactic wailing note. A huge caption reads, Selma Tels. Selma Tels. Whoosh. And Selma is replaced with a wiry young man singing, Howie Mandelbrot. Whoosh. And now we're watching a pair of early 20-somethings robot dancing. Toy soldiers. Now we see they're performing on a stage in front of several judges. NB Judge Wraith isn't there. In his place is Judge Rise, appearance to TBC. Today, each headlines their own tentpole content on one of your 8 daylight streams, but they started here, like you, putting their back into giving back for a brighter now. CCTV footage of Salma, Howard, and several members of the toy soldiers all pedaling away on individual bikes. This is not one shot. It's a compilation of shots from different cameras on different days. This is before they were famous material. Each paying their dues, like you, hoping to become a hot shot. Then a whoosh as we see Salma in the embryonic stages of fame, nervously waiting to walk on stage in the wings of the Hot Shot Theater. Another whoosh. She's performing on stage, hitting a high note, wearing the same regulation gray clothing as Bing. She's just finished singing. The 3 judges are sitting in a row in front of a screen with an audience of doppel avatars. A deadpan man on the end is looking at her. He is Judge Hope. He pauses.
That was beyond incredible.
An explosion of applause. And then we see shots, almost CCTV style, of people sitting in tiny rooms just like Bing's, watching Hot Shot. One of them punches the air, and then we see an avatar in the audience punch at the air. And B needs to be someone, so we don't see elsewhere in the story. An extra, basically, about 23 years old.
You decide the victors. You control their fates. You make the call on.
Bing's had enough and abruptly shoos it away. Up pops the dialogue box. Resume. He shoos it away. Skipping incurs penalty. Resume. Bing glances at the number beside his head. It reads 15,015,829. He spent too much today skipping adverts, but he shoos it away regardless. His credit drops by 1,000 M to 15,014,829. The walls fade to black for a moment, a little loading icon, like the gap between adverts on television. Then up pops the porn ad again.
New from Race Babes.
Bing shoos this way too. Up pops the dialogue box. Resume. He shoos it away. Skipping incurs penalty. Resume. Bing glances at the number beside his head again and sighs. He makes a sort of quick beckoning motion, like when you're trying to indicate keep reversing to a driver, and the commercial resumes. Tired, he lies back and absent-mindedly covers his eyes with his hand. The commercial pauses. A large caption reads, "View obstructed." Bing removes his hand. His eyes are still closed. He yawns. The commercial is waiting. The walls turn red. A high-pitched sound, almost dog whistle high, starts sounding.
Resume viewing. Resume viewing. Resume.
Bing blearily, reluctantly opens his eyes. The commercial continues from where it left off.
New from Race Babes, the hottest girls in the nastiest situations. Select View now to see fresh babes do the foulest things. Exclusively on Race Babes XL. Hey, what else are you planning to do with that hand?
Bing sits patiently waiting for it to stop. You're going to see it all. The girl blows a kiss. Up pops a caption. View now. 10,000 M. Bing gives a guilty, weary, beckoning motion. The counter decreases to 15,004,829 M. Interior Bing's tiny room, morning, day 2. It's the morning again, and Bing's wake-up routine, condensed. Black screens give way to a cornfield sunrise. The cockerel silenced. Interior Bing's bathroom, morning, day 2. Bing brushing his teeth. The Wraith Babes ad tries to interrupt him again. He shoos it away. Interior Bing's tiny room, at the door, morning, day 2. Bing is opening the door to leave for work. We see him make some kind of clever door opening gesture. See the graphic for the door mechanism.
Portal activated.
And the door opens and he steps out. Interior lift, morning, day 2. Bing is standing in the lift amongst the group. A pretty girl, Abby, gets in. He closes her or clocks her and is clearly interested, but says nothing. She doesn't notice him. Interior pedal chamber, 59A, day 2. Bing is approaching his bike. He notices an empty seat where Oliver was yesterday.
It didn't let him sign in. Told him to report to 22 down.
Dustin breezes past.
Told ya. Going lemon, the lazy twat.
Swift pulls a face at Dustin's back, looks back at Bing, then shares a brief moment. Interior pedal chamber 59A, day 2, a short time later. On the on-screen interface, KAI is shopping for customizable avatar items, trying out different haircuts for his character, all ginger like he is. The haircut becomes an afro, a spiky mohawk. He gets Swift's attention.
What do you think?
It's a bit much.
KAI looks a bit disappointed, goes back to his screen and settles on a doppel hairdo similar to his existing one. Dustin is watching a video of Salma singing one of her hits. KAI is watching a talking head interview with Salma, shot against an indistinct backdrop. It's illustrated with stills occasionally, like a nostalgia package VT. Briefly, we move to a vantage point where we can hear Dustin's audio. And Salma says,
The best thing about my new lifestyle, where do I start? I love choosing my own clothes. I love red. I think it really expresses the truth about who I am. I love looking out over.
while she burbles on, we move away out of KI's audio bubble when we notice Oliver walking through in a yellow cleaner suit, sweeping up. Dustin clocks him.
Hey, nice outfit.
Oliver doesn't respond, but numbly keeps on cleaning.
Suits ya.
Bing notices this, rubs his eyes a bit, and stops cycling. Interior, 59A lavatory. Later, day 2. Bing is standing at a urinal, urinating, as well as he might. The urinal is mounted on another wall-sized screen. On it is a kind of animated graphic advert showing 2 happy, smiling people pedaling on generator bikes, a man and a woman. It's vaguely reminiscent of vintage Soviet propaganda. Riding for a brighter now, reads the legend. As he stares at the screen blankly, Bing hears a sweet female voice singing. The song is Anyone Who Knows What Love Is by Irma Thomas, but that's not important right now.
You can blame me, try to change me, but I'll still care for you.
Bing registers the beauty of the voice.
The world may think I'm foolish, but they don't see you like I can. But anyone knows what love is will understand. understand.
Cut to Bing standing at the wash basin. His avatar is displayed in the mirror above the sink. He holds his hand under a soap dispenser. His M credit drops 10 points to 15,010,861. Behind him, a cubicle door opens. Out steps Abby, 21 years old, a strikingly pretty girl. She radiates innocence. She also wears the gray sweatpants, gray tea combo. Everyone does. But then someone else, a man, enters and stands at one of the urinals. Bing places his hands in a light dryer. Abby is washing her hands. Bing wants to say something. He looks at her hesitantly, opens his mouth, closes it again. She catches him looking. Now it's awkward. Bing breaks the silence.
Dry my hands.
Impressive.
And just then, the man at the urinal breaks wind and spits into the urinal as he pisses. Abby good-naturedly points to the door, indicating that she's about to go.
Have fun. I mean, on the
Bing minds pedaling. Abby looks vaguely confused, but smiles. And just then, the mirror bursts into an advert for the porn service again.
New from Race Babes.
Bing makes the shoe gesture. Up pops the dialogue box. Resume? He impatiently shoos it, then shoos it again when the skipping incurs penalty. Resume? Message pops up. His merits drop to 15,009,861. And Bing watches her go, then looks in the mirror.
Nick.
End of part. Interior pedal chamber, 59A, day 2. It's a short time later. Dustin is now playing Fat Tax 4, and really enjoying blowing people away. In the game, he sneaks up behind an overweight cleaner and relishes blasting his head off. Bing looks around, sees Abby taking up a position on Oliver's old bike. He stops pedaling and sits up. She sits on the bike, logs in. He's gazing at her. Swift watches Bing watching Abby. He catches Swift looking at him and then goes back to cycling. Interior snack area later, day 2. It's relatively crowded in the snacking area. Bing is sitting at a table eating, sneaking glances across at Abby. Abby is sitting, humming the tune in a world of her own, folding a wrapper from an apple. It's a paper bag with the apple packaged printed on it, and she's carefully flattening it and folding it into the shape of a small origami penguin. Interior pedal chamber 59A later, day 2. Close up of Abby placing the origami penguin on her bike monitor. She starts to cycle. Bing is sneaking glances at this action too. Oliver, the cleaner, potters past Abby's bike. He flips the penguin into his cleaning sack. Abby looks at him, slightly shocked.
Detritus. Sorry.
Abby catches Bing looking at her. He goes back to the rolling road. Interior Bing's tiny room, evening 2. Later that same day, at night, Bing is lying on his bed, humming the tune Abby was singing earlier. He can't get it out of his head. Suddenly, the wall explodes into the Hot Shot advert again. He makes a gesture with his hand to suggest muting. Dialog box pops up. Mute audio? He gives a thumbs up. Muting incurs penalty. Mute audio? He gives another thumbs up. As the walls continue to depict the Hot Shot visuals, Salma, the judges, etc., Bing continues humming Anyone Who Knows What Love Is to himself. Interior pedal chamber 59A, day 3. The next day, Bing is cycling. Dustin is watching Salma again. Swift is playing her virtual violin. Abby gets off her bike. Bing notices this and stops pedaling himself. Interior snack area, day 3. Abby is by a huge vending machine with a screen on it. She's logged in and is trying to buy an apple, which is lodged in the machine and won't come out.
Oh, come on.
Bing sidles up,
Wait, there's a knack to it.
reaches into the slot, delving with his arm.
It'll take your fingers off.
Trust me.
He finds something. A gear grinds in the machine and the apple drops down in its paper wrapper.
Smart.
Bing offers his hand.
Bing Madsen, short for Bingham.
Abby Khan. Short for Abby Khan.
They start moving towards the table.
You're a new person. I've not seen you.
Abby takes a bite of the apple.
Just went 21 last week. Wanted to go to Airedale. My sister's there. Full, apparently.
She savors the taste.
Proper fruit. Worth the revs.
Most natural thing in here, and it's probably grown in a petri dish.
Yeah, worth it though.
That's the right way around. When you get the cheap, lardy gunk, you end up having to pedal it off. And then you want more sugar and you're playing to catch up. Been there. Vicious cycle.
Can't you just use the CBT app?
What's that?
Abby takes a seat at a nearby table. Bing hovers anxiously at the edge. As she sits, she carefully unfolds the wrapper, smoothing it flat.
This cognitive behavioral thing, which realigns your thinking so you pick healthy food, whispers you into it while you sleep.
I should try that.
Bing doesn't have any more to say about that, and Abby is munching the apple.
I liked your singing the other day.
Abby starts folding the paper.
I was trying to sing so no one could hear me pee. I'm not Selma or anything.
Bing finally sits down.
You've got a phenomenal voice. Really. It was the most beautiful song.
He notices she's looking at him with disbelief.
I think I'm being cheesy. I am being cheesy, but it was beautiful. So, reality is cheesy sometimes. Not often, admittedly, but now, yes.
Well, thank you. It's just noises, though. Noises in the right order.
Abby is folding the wrapper, another penguin taking shape.
Don't downplay. You're good.
This song's good. It's old. My mom used to sing it, and she learned it from her mom. A hand-me-down.
Bing nods sheepishly and smiles.
You thought of trying out for Hot Shot?
He gives her a look.
What, me?
Why not?
Sing for Judge Hope? I'd die. Seriously. I'd be halfway to the afterlife come the chorus.
Oh, you'd walk it.
I wouldn't. A, I wouldn't, and B, I don't have the clockage. It's what, 12 mil just to enter? How much bike time's that? 6 months?
Yeah, but
Abby has nearly finished the penguin sculpture.
I'm hand to mouth. I know people save and starve to get on that stage. I know that's what Selma did.
yeah, but
But you know what? I'd rather not kid myself.
I'll gift it to you.
That shuts her up. The penguin is finished.
The full 12. I'll gift it.
Abby looks at him. She gets up from the table. Bing follows her.
Don't be stupid.
Seriously, I've got spare.
You've got 12 mil spare?
She starts walking away.
My brother left it me.
Own a channel, does he?
No, he died. He died last year. He transferred it to me, just over 3 months worth, but I've kept it.
Abby pauses, then continues walking, not looking back at him. This is too much.
Why aren't you spending it on you then?
And buy what? Some new shoes for my Doppeldoor?
I don't know, upgrade your room to OS?
Get a FedEx season pass?
Buy one of those wall buddies. The new ones talk to you after the shut-in and solve your problems. They guide your dreams like gurus. It's amazing what they can do these days.
A mirror plugin that shows me how I'd look as a werewolf? What's the point?
Well, it can be quite funny.
Well, but that's all just stuff. It's stuff. It's confetti. You've got something real. What better to spend it on?
You heard me singing in a toilet, and that's real?
more than anything that's happened all year.
She stops and looks at him.
I can't take that kind of clockage off you. 12 mil? No way.
Let me do this.
Bing surveys the chamber, the scale of it. We see a wide, full reveal of the pedal atrium over Bing and Abby's shoulder, and cut to a non-VFX closer shot of Dustin shot on her pedal chamber set.
I look around here and I want something real to happen just once.
Abby regards him more thoughtfully. He means it.
I'd mess up.
Who wouldn't? I don't care anyway.
Abby is seriously wavering now.
I'll go with you. No, better. I'll force you. I'll force you to go.
Abby stops and looks at him. She's teetering on the brink of agreeing.
It's tomorrow. Come on. Say yes.
He looks at her until she smiles.
I'll go as far as okay.
This proves acceptable.
Thank God for that. I'm walking away from you now, you loon.
She's smiling as she walks away.
I can live with it.
And Bing smiles for virtually the first time this year. Interior pedal chamber 59A later, day 3. Swift is back to her violin game. Kai is watching her hotshot highlights. Abby has placed the next penguin on her monitor. Bing glances over at her. They share a shy smile. Dustin is walking past Bing's bike. On his way back to his own, he clocks Bing's eye line and leans in for a surreptitious mutter as he passes.
Yeah, I'd like to flip and ruin that and all.
Bing gets back to his rolling road. Oliver walks past Abby's bike, cleaning again. He looks sadly at the penguin.
Abby.
I know.
He flicks it into the bin bag with an apologetic look. Interior, Bing's tiny room, night 3. Bing sits on the bed, accessing the wall. He's browsing a hotshot audition interface, which has animated images of Selma belting out her song and profiles of the judges, lit as imposingly as possible. He selects buy entry ticket. He pops another dialog box. You'll be charged 15 million for this ticket.
15.
He pops a nagging dialog box. Proceed. Bing looks at his credit rating. He has 15,009,407. He pauses, then beckons. His account instantly drops to 9,407. Up pops a spinning 3D golden audition ticket. Bing looks at it. 15 mil for this. He points towards an option which says, gift this item. Interior, Abby's tiny room, moments later, night 3. Abby's room is an identical layout, but the bed is on an opposing wall. Her wallpaper consists of an Arctic icebergy scene with a penguin tottering around. She's lying on her bed when a message pops up, accompanied by Bing's doppel. Bing sent you a gift. The golden ticket revolves on screen. She sits up. Interior, Bing's tiny room, moments later, night 3. Bing looks at the wall. Abby's doppel is there, blowing him a kiss. Bing smiles. And then the wall explodes into the Wraith Babes advert. Bing shoos it away. Interior lift, day 4. Abby and Bing are in a lift with screens down the side and a light pulsing floor to ceiling indicating that we're going up.
Can't believe I'm doing this. I am doing this. I can't be doing this. Can you trade it back?
The ticket? Don't be mad.
Abby breathes out, nervous.
Oh, it's a lot of pressure to put someone under, you know. I mean, I'm grateful. Don't think I'm not grateful, but it's just,
You're babbling.
I'm babbling.
She looks at him a moment and remembers something.
Oh, made you this.
She gives him an origami penguin.
Never get to keep them more than a day anyway, but there it is anyway.
Bing awkwardly looks for somewhere to keep it. He doesn't have pockets. None of them do.
It folds flat. You can keep them in your waistband.
Thank you.
He holds her hand.
It's, something.
They continue holding hands as the lift ascends. We see Abby is stroking his hand slightly with her thumb. Interior Audition Center entrance. Moments later, day 4. Bing and Abby turn a corner from a corridor and approach a desk with the Hotshot logo and the word registration on it. A dark red carpet leads to the desk, behind which sits a smiling woman with a Hotshot logo on her t-shirt. There's a screen behind her.
Mute. You're muted.
Face the screen, please.
Abby faces the screen. It signs her in. Up pops her doppel and a ticket.
Is he your friends and family allocation?
Yeah.
Hand, please.
She takes Bing's hand and holds a small egg-shaped device over it.
This may tang a bit.
The device laser stamps the back of his hand with an F and F mark. It does indeed tang a bit. Bing holds his hand, wincing.
Yeah.
That's not permanent, is it?
Oh no, 2 months max.
Thanks for that.
Bing and Abby look at each other and laugh a bit.
Holding areas round to the right and through the scanner.
They walk round to the right. Interior Audition Center backstage, day 4. Bing and Abby are now into the main holding pen for wannabes. It's a claustrophobic area because of the sheer number of people here, not unlike an overcrowded departure gate at an airport, broken up by flat columns of screens. People are singing to themselves, practicing dance moves, etc. It's a cross between a holding pen and a bedlam. But before Bing and Abby can even get into the main area, they have to pass through something resembling a walk-through airport scanner with a guard beside it, a big guy in black garb with the Hotshot logo on it as a small crest. Bing and Abby pass through the scanner, which doesn't go off, and the guard nods them through. They stand in the very crowded area and look around for a moment. Bing looks around at the guard.
Where do we go now?
You wait here.
How long?
The guard shrugs. Abby and Bing move into the area, looking at all the dancers and singers.
So what do we do?
I don't know.
At which point, a dancer practicing some Jacko-style moves clearly cracks Abby in the mouth.
Hey. Oh, maybe I didn't cast dancer.
And the dancer goes back to pirouetting as Bing and Abby move away from him slightly. Interior Audition Center backstage, other side, continuous. 25, day 4. At this point, we see from the other side of the room, Hammond, a man in a Hotshot top, holding an earpiece, clearly taking instructions from someone. I mean, he's looking over at Bing and Abby's direction.
But the dark hair? Yeah, pretty one? Okay, right.
Interior Audition Center backstage, continuous, day 4. Back with Abby and Bing, and suddenly Hammond is walking towards them with some purpose. But they haven't noticed because a young lad, about 20, is being stopped at the security scanner. There's a kerfuffle brewing. Hammond, meanwhile, is having his movement hampered by the Jacko dancer, who's showing off in his path. He shoves them out of the way and keeps moving. Bing and Abby are still gawping at the brouhaha by the scanner. A rudimentary prison knife consisting of a razor blade embedded in a toothbrush handle has been found on the lad. Suddenly, Hammond is right next to them. He touches Abby on the shoulder.
They want to preview you.
Abby hears a shriek, looks around, and the knife lad is being tasered by the guard.
What?
Preview, come on.
He starts leading her away. She indicates Bing.
Wait, he's with me.
Hand?
Bing looks confused.
Show me your hand.
The penny drops. Bing shows him the F&F icon on his hand.
Okay, you too.
As they're following Hammond, a girl aged about 25 named Glee sees this and starts moaning and following, lobbying Hammond.
That's not fair. She's new. That's not fair.
I don't pick the order.
I've been waiting all week. She just walked in.
Everyone gets seen eventually. I don't pick the order.
The girl stands in front of him.
But I'm a good singer. I can sing. I'm a good singer. I am.
Step aside.
But it's not fair.
Hammond exits with Bing and Abby. Abby looking back at the weeping girl. Sorry for her. Interior, small backstage adjunct. Moments later, day 4. Abby has been led to a small area made to stand in front of a screen with a looping hotshot logo animation on. An interviewer is standing off facing her with another screen behind them.
Would you like to be as big as Selma one day?
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose.
Could you say that as a self-contained sentence into that screen?
I guess I'd like to be as big as Selma one day.
Okay. Proceed to the stage area.
We're done.
The interviewer doesn't answer, just points in the direction of the stage wings. Abby moves off. Bing, who's been keeping his distance during this interview, joins her. Interior, stage wings, day 4. Abby and Bing pass through another weapon scanner, and bingo, they're into the slightly shabby wings. Anna, an AP in a hotshot uniform with an earpiece, approaches them. Oh, both performing?
Just her.
He flashes the F&F brand on his hand to her. She nods mechanically. And what are you?
Singer.
Compliance. She proffers a small white carton with a pharmaceutical feel. It's a drink called Compliance. The lettering is like a Prozac style product. Abby looks at the carton, not understanding.
No thanks.
Wasn't a question. All contestants have to drink it. It's a compulsory mood stabilizer. Anna pulls a small straw from the side of the carton and plugs it in. More to the point, it stops you from puking with nerves.
She's got to perform.
Well, duh. Just sip it. You'll be fine. Make the most of it. You can't get this Anatuff on the outside for love nor merits. Abby sips some. Almost immediately, she looks giddy. Bing goes to help her.
Whoa!
Oh, just a touch of Lightfoot. It'll pass. Abby is looking around.
You okay?
Yeah, it's just everything's, I don't know, wider apart. No, I'm fine.
Really?
I'm fine.
A low beep goes off. You're on. Abby passes the empty compliance carton to Bing and walks onto the stage, blinking into the lights a little more woozily. End of part. Interior stage, day 4. Abby steps out to near silence. It's a cavernous stage with a hotshot logo at the back, digitally projected, undulating like an outsized national flag. This is like some kind of neon Nuremberg. At the front of the stage, 3 judges sit in a line behind an illuminated desk. Behind them, the Doppel audience. Judge Hope is about 50, white, male, with close-cropped white hair. Judge Charity is in her mid-30s to early 40s and very glamorous in appearance. And Judge Wraith is the youngest. He's like an LA porn dude, quite ripped, tattoos down his arms and visible up his neck. There's a brief pause as Abby stands not quite in the center.
A little closer, please.
Abby looks confused, woozy.
A little closer.
Abby doesn't get it.
Into the light, love.
Abby steps forward into the spotlight.
And who's this we're looking at?
Abby Khan.
And what are you doing for us today, Abby Khan?
I'm going to sing.
Her voice is scarcely audible.
Speak up.
Abby gingerly cranes her neck a little closer.
You don't bite.
The crowd titters. Abby smiles. Judge Wraith is regarding her coolly.
I'm going to sing.
Would you mind lifting your top for me?
Wraith has an American accent. Someone in the crowd lets out an embarrassed laugh. Abby stares at him, befuddled. Did she hear that? Interior Dustin's tiny room, continuous day 4. Dustin is in his room watching Hot Shot live on the wall screen. Abby is looking befuddled by Wraith's comment. Then it cuts back to Wraith again.
Can you take your top off? I want to check out your titties. Come on, mucho pronto.
Dustin whoops, punches a fist in the air. Interior Doppel audience, continuous day 4. As Dustin does this, we see his Doppel whoop and punch its fist in the air. Interior stage, continuous day 4. Wraith is developing his theme.
Oh, come on, no titties?
She says she's here to sing.
But I gotta see those titties. I mean, damn, girl, you hot.
Abby looks very confused and slightly hurt.
Please sing for us.
Abby looks at Judge Wraith. He shrugs as if to say, go ahead, whatever. Music starts up, the first twinkly notes of the backing track. Judges Hope and Charity are watching intently. Abby looks at Judge Wraith, who starts staring back at her blankly. Judge Charity mimes, fingers crossed, in a gesture of solidarity. Abby looks down with her eyes closed, breathing slowly, trying to calm herself. Everything sounds far away. That drink has turned it all faintly dreamlike. Then comes her cue. She looks up, opens her mouth, and sings.
You can blame me, try to shame me, and still I'll care for you.
Judge Hope sits up. Abby really does have a heartbreakingly beautiful voice. It flutters out of her, a soft winged surprise.
You can run around, even put me down, still I'll be there for you.
Judge Charity is nodding slowly in time, smiling. This girl is good.
The world may think I'm foolish, they can see you like I can.
Judge Hope chooses pen.
Oh, but anyone who knows what love is will understand.
Abby looks into the wings at Bing, who smiles back at her, which causes her to smile a bit. This is all starting to look quite desperately feel good.
I feel so sorry for the ones who pity me.
She locks eyes with Judge Wraith. He's rapt. Interior Swift's tiny room, continuous day 4. Swift is sitting in her room watching Abby sing, almost annoyed by how good she is. Interior Doppel audience, continuous day 4. Cut to Swift's Doppel in the audience, looking flatly at the stage. Interior stage, continuous day 4. Abby continues to sing.
'Cause they just don't know, no, they don't know what happiness a true love can be.
She gives up looking at Wraith and sings now to Judge Hope.
Oh, no, to ever let you go is more than I could ever stand.
And on to Judge Charity.
Oh, but there's anyone who knows what love is, honey will understand.
Judge Hope holds his hand up. The music stops.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there.
Abby looks on, nervous as anything.
That was, without a doubt,
Abby bites her lip.
probably the best piece of singing we haven't had this season.
The audience applauds. Whoops. During this, we cut to interior Kai's tiny room. Continuous day 4. Ginger hair Kai is watching Hotshot, applauding, whooping. Interior Doppel audience, continuous day 4. We see Kai's ginger haired Doppel applauding amongst the crowd. Interior stage, continuous day 4. The audience is still clapping. Judge Hope is waiting for them to stop, however.
But I have to say, despite that, I'm actually with Wraith on this one.
Some of the audience let out a low boo. Hope plows on, talking to shut them up.
Good though your voices, and it is good. Not the most magical sound in the world, just good. I don't think anyone's really hearing it, certainly not the guys in the audience.
Abby looks confused.
These looks you've got going on kind of get in the way. Men will want you, women will hate you all the time you're performing. I couldn't help picturing you in an erotic scenario. And I'm getting pretty turned on, if I'm honest.
Right.
What can I say? It's honesty. You've got a pure beauty, what seems to be a knockout figure, and this sort of interesting innocence thing going. And that's something I think Wraith's erotica channels could really play with.
Absolutely what I thought the moment I saw you. The moment.
I'd watch, not a man who wouldn't.
To be honest, some of us girls might join you.
The audience laugh. During this, in the wings, Bing is trying to get on stage. Put a stop to this. But he's bundled away by security.
No, get off me.
On the stage, Abby is thinking over the offer. She doesn't understand.
It's not quite what I was after.
You'll never have to pedal again, not 1 minute. We could really work with you.
Last year we had singers.
So many singers.
So to make it as a singer, you've got to be truly exceptional.
True.
There's just no slots left for above average singers. Not on my streams, not for the next few years at least. Charity,
Saturation point, singer-wise.
we said from the off we're looking for something different this season. That's why he's on the panel.
You'll be a star on our stream. On his, you're furniture at best.
Abby is feeling very woozy. Ray's voice is echoing.
Hey, forget shame. We medicate against that. You'll just have pleasure forever.
Abby looks to Judge Charity for some kind of lifeline.
Realistically, sweetheart, it is that or the bike.
I don't think I want to.
Okay, you know what? This is starting to annoy me.
Abby stares at him. She's peering into bright light, and it's making her unsteady on her feet.
You should think very carefully before dismissing something like this.
Yes.
Abby peers into the lights. She's not focusing.
Who do you think's powering that spotlight?
I
Millions of people, that's who. All out there right now putting in an honest day on the bike, giving back to the world. While you stand in the light, they're generating and dinner. And you know what? They would give anything, do anything to be where you are now, to have what you have. Am I right?
The audience cheers.
And you want to call us snook at that as though it's nothing? And though they're nothing? And that makes me sick.
Someone boos loudly. Abby looks startled.
Well, you know what? Maybe you belong on the bike. because you don't seem willing to step off of it.
I do want to, but
Do we have a decision?
The crowd starts chanting, "Come on, come on." Abby blinks into the lights, looks in vain for Bing in the wings.
I suppose.
Virtual fireworks explode behind her to the strains of triumphant music. The judges applaud. The crowd gets to its feet. Interior Dustin's tiny room, continuous day 4. Dustin applauding gets to his feet. Interior Doppel audience continues day 4. Dustin's Doppel applauding amongst the crowd. Interior stage, continuous day 4. The judges stand still applauding. Judge Charity sheds a tear for the first time in 6 months. Fade to black. Fade back up. Interior tiny room day 5. A few weeks later, Bing, slightly unshaven, slightly more unkempt than we've seen him, is holding the original penguin, slightly crumpled, between his fingers, regarding it thoughtfully. He flattens it and carefully slides it under the mattress. We see the compliance carton is also there. Interior lift, day 5. Bing is standing amongst the group, looking blank again. Abby isn't in the lift. Interior pedal chamber, 59A, day 5. Now Bing's in the saddle, pedaling slowly, staring blankly at the low number on his screen, 6,828 meters. Beside him, Dustin is pedaling hard, watching a pornographic broadcast. Abby is sitting, fully clothed, on a sofa. The camera swings around, handheld gonzo style.
And who are you?
I'm Abby.
Race reaches in and caresses her cheek.
Look, I didn't know. Met you on Hot Shot. You were real impressive.
Judge Race thumb circles Abby's lips with faint aggression.
You're all clean and shit.
Dustin is staring hard at his screen. When the reflection of the overweight cleaner spoils his view again, he spins in his seat.
Oi, crap's sake, I pay for this. I pay for this. I pump my ass off and you, screw you.
He throws a hand towel at her. She walks away.
Yeah, keep waddling, pig tits. Find the horizon and flip off over it.
Bing stares fixedly at his screen when an advert comes on for the porn service.
New from Race Babes.
He shoos it, then shoos it again angrily. His meter drops by 1,000 again to 5,828. He increases his rate of pedaling. He stares at his hand where the F and F mark is still clearly visible. He stops pedaling. At the top of Bing's screen, a small notification briefly appears. Dustin liked a video. Wraith Babes, Abby Khan special, next to a small image of Dustin Stoppel's face. Bing keeps looking at his hand. Interior tiny room, evening 5. Bing is in his room, lying on the bed. He reaches under the mattress, can't find it. Jumps out as he frantically tosses the mattress, looking for the origami penguin or the compliance cup. Well, nothing's there. He looks distraught, then has a thought and looks determined. Interior 58 lavatory, evening 5. Bing stomps into the communal lavatory area where Oliver is cleaning. His bin bag is nearby. Bing approaches.
Where is it?
What?
Bing snatches Oliver's bin bag, starts looking in.
Hey, that's my quota.
Did you clean my room?
We clean all the rooms.
Bing upends the bag. A small load of rubbish spills out. Not much. Wrappers and the odd plastic bottle. Oliver looks worried. He'll get in trouble.
We clean all of them.
Bing starts rooting through it on the floor as Oliver looks on pathetically. He finds the compliance carton, but not the penguin.
It's not my fault.
Bing doesn't answer. He's sorting through the stuff on the floor, separating the items. He finds the compliance container, but not the penguin.
Where's the rat?
I don't know.
And then Bing finds the remains of the penguin. It's had orange juice and something slimy spilt on it. Bin bag mush. It's ruined. As he stares at it, Oliver starts picking the other items back up and putting them in the bag. He goes to take the compliance carton, and Bing won't let him take it.
I'll get docked if they find out.
But Bing just starts walking away with the carton, tucking it into his waistband. Interior pedal chamber 59A, day 6, the next day. Bing is pedaling. Kai is shopping for customizable Doppel items again, trying out different t-shirts. They appear on his Doppel. He can't quite decide.
What do you think?
Swift glances at it, uninterested.
Yeah.
Dustin is watching a talking head interview with Abby, similarly shot to Selma's interview. Abby looks dead behind the eyes, not miserable, but unenthusiastic, kind of Valium smacked, faking. We get close enough to Dustin's audio field to hear a bit of what she's saying.
Best thing about my new lifestyle is I meet a lot of hot guys. Rafe treats me well.
Interior snack area, later, day 6. Bing sits at a table, joylessly eating something cheap, alone. Interior tiny room, night 6. Bing is sitting on the bed playing Fatax 4. He wears an expression of abject numbness. He can't even be bothered to kill virtual people. Suddenly the walls are whisked away. The Wraith Babes logo appears. New from Wraith Babes. Bing shoos it, but up pops an alert. Insufficient funds. His merits stand at 439 meters. The advert resumes. New from Wraith Babes, a Wraith Babes reality special. The image is replaced with footage of Abby backstage at Hot Shot.
I guess I'd like to be as big as Selma one day.
The image freezes. Fast zoom into her big eyes. Millions watched her glide through the hotshot curtain of dreams to sing her heart out. Images of Abby in mid-song.
Anyone who knows what love is will understand.
Another freeze and zoom, accompanied by a huge SFX boom. What happened next shocked them all.
We could really work with you.
Judge Hope?
Do we have a decision?
Bombastic freeze frames zoom into Abby's face. Now watch her stunning erotic debut. Bing stands up and starts pacing up and down, muttering under his breath.
No, 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 no.
As he does so, up pops a girl. It's Abby, standing, looking drowsy, in scanty attire, one strap hanging off her shoulder.
Anyone who knows what lives, love is will understand.
Bing turns around to face the other wall, but the image switches with him like an iPad auto-correcting to display a picture with the right way up, no matter which way it turns.
No.
The image of Abby now switches to display the handheld footage of her sitting on the sofa we saw earlier. This time, it's more heavily edited, like a preview. We see she's in a room with 3 heavy-set guys. Any overt explicitness is not shown. After all, you're meant to pay for that. But there's no doubt whatsoever about the animal squalor of what's going on. You'll see everything. You'll see it all.
No, no, no.
He puts his hands over his eyes. The advert falls silent, but the walls turn red. The low klaxon starts sounding.
Resume viewing. Resume viewing. Resume viewing.
No.
Resume viewing. Resume viewing. Resume viewing.
The walls turn darker red. The klaxon grows louder.
Resume viewing. Penalty imminent. Resume viewing. Penalty imminent.
No, 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 no.
He's now face to face with a shot of Abby, a close up of her face, sweating, makeup smeared, groaning, but still singing. See purity locked asunder in the relative privacy of your life pad, every which way in high definition. During this, Bing gets up, tries to leave the room, but the door graphic won't respond to his motions. He tries opening it regardless. Choose view, not because you can, but because you want to. Up pops a dialog box on the door.
Portal disabled during commercial.
In the video, Ray's thumb is circling Abby's mouth again.
Take it in. Take it.
Bing screams and throws himself against the wall, against his horror show. He pounds at the screens again and again, trying to make it stop. If anything, the soundtrack grows louder. He overturns his mattress, throws the compliance carton at the wall. He smashes his whole body against the wall, slams it hard. The glass starts to crack. Finally, with an almighty thump, he crashes his full weight against one of the wall screens. The glass cracks, splinters from floor to ceiling. The image pixelates, distorts, freezes. There is silence. Bing slides down to the floor, whimpering, crying. And then he stands up, looks at the frozen image, surveys the splits in the screen. He peers at it, and he removes a sharp shard of perspex about the length of a forearm from the wall. He holds it in front of his face, stares at it, turns it in his hand, runs his finger along the edge. He holds it against the F and F branded into his right hand, pushes it against the skin. He's going to hack that mark right off his hand. The edge of the perspex pushes against his skin at the edge of the F and F, and he winces. It draws a little blood. And suddenly Bing stops. He stares at the shard, looks at the empty compliance carton, and he thinks, end of part. Interior, pedal chamber 59A, day 7, montage. NB, it would be fantastic if we can get a season change into the Rolling Road GFX for Bing to be cycling through. If not, let's do it like this. We're going to take a break, it looks like.
Well, or just for you, if you want me to take over for a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Like this. We take in the full width of the hall, all those cycles standing empty. It's the start of the day. Big wide shot of pedal atrium, devoid of riders, into which Bing walks. A lone figure enters. It's Bing, up impossibly early. He walks to the bike and gets on. Now we're in a montage. Bing is cycling, watching the units rack up 150,000 merits. Then we see him at home, sitting blankly through an advert in the evening. We see him in his bathroom, carefully applying a minuscule amount of paste to his brush, keeping an eagle eye on the amount so he doesn't overspend, not by one merit. We see him cycling again, 300,000 merits. We see him hovering in the background in the eating area. Two people are sitting in the foreground, chatting and eating. They get up and leave. Bing comes over and swipes the leftovers, a few crusts, and eats them greedily. We see him cycling again, 700,000 meters. Dustin is laughing at an episode of Bother Guts, where a fat guy is being force-fed a cake and appears to have suffered a fatal heart attack. Comedy noises are dubbed over the top.
Oh, fatality, yes.
Bing stares at the F and F mark on his hand. It's starting to fade. 2 million meters. We see Bing in his room. Automobile screens on the cornfield, apparently performing some kind of dance routine, a cross between robot dancing and striptease by the looks of it. He's clumsy and not very good. Now we see him cycling again. We cut between the tachometer racking up from 3 million to 4 to 5, to shots of his face, his concentration, to shots of the dance routine, winter scenes on the cornfield. He apparently practicing as the moves gradually get slicker, to shots of him watching someone using the vending machine looking frustrated, checking the flap thing. The item they chose, an apple, hasn't come out. They give up and move off. Bing slides in and does the sneaky nubbing trick to get the snack of an apple. 2 shots of his hand as the F&F logo gradually fades further and further from view, to the final shot of the dance routine, spring scenes on the cornfield. He's got phenomenally good. And finally, a shot of the pedometer as he crosses the 15 million mark. He stops pedaling for a moment, mops his face, and steps off the bike. His merits stand at 15,344 meters. Interior bathroom, day 8. Bing is looking at himself in the mirror. He takes shaving foam nozzle, gently squeezes the trigger, and streams a small amount of foam into his hand. He manages to leave the figure on exactly 15 million meters. Exactly. He massages foam into his face and starts to shave. Interior tiny room, day 8. Bing is purchasing an audition ticket. He looks at where it says gift this item, but ignores that. His merits decrease to 0. Then he picks up a shard of Perspex and puts it down the back of his trousers, where it's held in place by the waistband. He covers the top of his t-shirt. Interior lift, day 8. Bing is staring ahead impassively as the lift ascends into your audition center entrance. Moments later, day 8. Bing is signing in at the desk. He's the first one there.
You're keen.
He just nods slightly, but doesn't smile. The woman gives up trying to make conversation.
Face the screen, please.
He does so. It signs him in.
Friends and family.
Bing shakes his head with a weak show smile. Interior audition center backstage. Moments later, day 8. The audition room is currently empty. Bing is approaching the weapon scanner. The guard is looking at him impassively. Some emphasis for us on the area in the small of his back where the shard is. He passes through the scanner. The guard squints at the screen. Nothing. Bing passes through. He enters the room and just stands there. Glee enters and looks disappointed and surprised not to be the first one there. Then a cut. It's now full. Bing still waiting patiently in the holding area. Bedlam and jostling everywhere. Hammond takes some of the performers through. Glee kicks off again as he takes one. Bing stands impassively still. Some more cuts. Time passes. Hammond is listening in his earpiece.
A what, Nick one? An ethnic one?
Then Hammond spots Bing again across the way.
On it.
Interior small backstage agent. Moments later, day 8. And Vicky will continue her shoots.
Bing has been led to the small area made to stand in front of that screen with the Hot Shot logo animation on. The interviewer is standing off, facing him with another screen behind him.
So what are you, a magician?
An entertainer.
Could you say that down the screen? A contained sentence?
I'm an entertainer.
He looks a bit creepy. The interviewer has already had enough.
That'll do.
The interviewer gestures towards the stage wings. Interior stage wings. Moments later, day 8. Bing passes through the second weapon scanner. Anna is there again with her compliance. Before you go on, I'll need you to drink a compliance. Bing produces the crushed compliance scan. He has a slightly beatific smile.
They gave me one back there.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, you're good to go. And she ushers him towards the stage. Interior stage, day 8. Bing steps up, shielding his eyes from the light. He takes his mark.
And who are you?
Bing Madsen.
Interior Swift's tiny room, day 8, continuous. Swift is sitting on her bed. She perks up if she sees Bing. NB, throughout Bing's performance, it may be worth cutting to our viewers, example Swift, Kai, and Dustin. Interior Dustin's tiny room, day 8, continuous. Dustin is also watching.
Oi, what the fetch?
Interior stage, day 8, continuous.
And what are you planning to do for us?
Sort of performance.
A sort of performance.
Yes.
A man of mystery.
Hmm.
The audience titters nervously.
Mm.
Well, I suppose we'd better see it then.
Okay.
Bing signals off stage and music starts up. The music from the Wraith Babes video starts up. Bing starts performing strange, jerky dance movements, as we saw him practicing earlier. The judges look quite confused, but interested. Apart from Judge Wraith, who couldn't care less because there's no tits involved. Bing's performance appears to be segueing into some kind of striptease. Some girls in the audience squeal. Judge Charity starts clapping in time, and now he starts removing his top. Judge Hope raises his eyebrows in a slightly weary way, wondering when he should jump in and put a stop to this. Now the shirt's off, louder cheers. He windmills it round, tosses it behind him like a stripper. A loud cheer for that, and then unveils the shard of perspex. Judge Hope snaps to attention at that. Judge Charity looks confused. Bing holds a shard to his own throat. Backstage, the producer kills the music. A guard starts walking in from the wings.
Stop. Stop there or I'll do it. This is the main artery. Keep walking and you've killed me.
The guard hesitates, looks at Judge Hope. Judge Hope gives him a nod. The guard backs down. Quick cut to interior, Swift's tiny room, day 8, continuous. Swift is sitting on her bed, heart in mouth, watching this live broadcast. Interior, stage, day 8, continuous. Bing still has a shard at his throat.
No one stops me. Not till I've said my piece. Then you can do what you like.
Bing looks at Judge Hope.
Oh, just fucking kill yourself. Get Annie on me, bro, and I'll kick you back to life and cut your goddamn head off.
I think we should let him speak.
Judge Wraith looks at Judge Hope.
Well, that kind of makes you the decider, doesn't it?
Judge Hope ponders. The crowd, getting rowdy now, starts settling into two camps. One half baying for Bing to cut his own throat, the other demanding he should speak.
Let's hear what he's got to say.
Bing pauses.
Oh, come on. You've got our attention as requested. So what do you want to say?
Bing is staring, blinking into the light.
Have you prepared a speech? Is that it? Speak.
Haven't got a speech. I didn't plan words, didn't even try to. I just knew I had to get here, to stand here now. And I knew I wanted you to listen.
Judge Hope goes to open his mouth. Bing shuts him off.
To really listen, not just pull a face like you're listening, like you do the rest of the time. A face like you're feeling instead of processing. You pull a face and poke it toward the stage and la-di-da, we sing and dance and tumble around. And all you actually see and hear, it's not people. You don't see people up here.
Bing starts pacing, getting into the flow. The guard eyes him anxiously, seeing if he's got a chance to pounce.
It's all fodder, all the faker that fodder is. The more you love it, because fake fodder is the only thing that works anymore. Fake fodder is all we can stomach.
He looks up beyond the judges.
Actually, not quite all. Real pain, real viciousness, that we can take. Stick a fat man up a pole and we'll laugh ourselves feral because we've earned the right. We've done saddle time and he's slacking, the scum. So ha ha ha, him. We'll happily meld with the sheer callous madness of it because we're so out of our minds with desperation. We don't know any better.
In the audience, people are rapt with attention. They're actually listening. During the next bit, we cut to Kai's tiny room to see Kai watching the mention of hat buying during the live broadcast.
All we know is fake fodder and buying shit. That's how we speak to each other, how we express ourselves, buying shit. I have a dream. The peak of our dream is a new hat for our doppel, a hat that doesn't exist, that's not even there. We buy shit that's not even there. Show us something real and free and beautiful. You couldn't, because it'd break us. We're too numb for it. Our minds would choke. We've grown inside this machine, breathed its air for too long. There's only so much wonder we can bear.
Back on Bing's space now, as he's becoming increasingly animated. This is becoming a manic sermon.
That's why when you find any wonder whatsoever, you dole it out in meager portions. And only then when it's been augmented and packaged and pumped through 10,000 pre-assigned filters till it's nothing more than meaningless series of lights to stare into while we ride day in, day out. Going where? Powering what? Powering the whole distraction engine. All tiny cells, all tiny screens, and bigger cells and bigger screens, and fuck you.
He shouts directly at the judges.
Fuck you. That's what it all boils down to, is fuck you. Fuck you for being part of this landscape. Fuck you for sitting there slowly knitting things worse. Fuck you and your spotlight and your sanctimonious faces, and fuck you. Fuck you all for taking the one thing I ever came close to feeling anything about, anything real about, anything, for oozing around it and crushing it into a bone, into a joke. One more ugly joke in a kingdom of millions of them. Fuck you for happening. Fuck you for me, for us, for everyone. Fuck you.
Bing is exhausted, panting. There is silence and tension in the audience.
Muted.
Okay. That was, without a doubt,
He glares at Bing.
the most heartfelt thing I've seen on the stage since Hot Shot began.
The audience goes nuts, standing up and applauding wildly.
You're semi-articulating something I think we all, and I mean everyone in this hall, something we all agree on, even though we may not comprehend all of it. I think I'm right in saying we do feel it, even me. I know you've got me down at this as this creature, but hey, I get where you're coming from. I like your stuff.
Not stuff.
Bad choice of words. It's truth, am I right?
Bing looks wary.
Your truth, admittedly, but truth nonetheless. And you're right. Authenticity is in woefully short supply. I'd like to hear you talk again.
Bing is almost deflated. He wasn't expecting this.
How so?
With a slot on one of my streams, we can speak just like that.
Bing is so stunned and bewildered, he can't speak.
I'd watch it. Great passion.
Judge Wraith shrugs.
He's okay, a little out there, but hey, the throat cutting thing's a neat gimmick.
What do you say? 30 minutes, twice a week?
Bing stares into the lights. The crowd starts slow clapping, chanting, "Do it!"
Beats the bike.
She said it.
The crowd starts clapping and chanting more quickly. Interior Kai's tiny room, day 8, continuous. Kai is clapping and chanting. Interior Dustin's tiny room, day 8, continuous. So is Dustin. Interior Swift's tiny room, day 8, continuous, but Swift is not. Interior stage, day 8, continuous. The clapping and chanting reaches a crescendo. Bing looks like he's about to speak when we abruptly cut to interior pedal chamber 59A, day 9, 1 year later. We see Oliver is now a contestant in Other Guts, which is being watched by Dustin. Oliver is being force-fed cake, intercut with shots of the host laughing his arse off. Dustin is chuckling, slurping a diet smoothie. He tosses it over his shoulder where the female cleaner picks it up. Dustin then flips channel and settles on what appears to be Abby starring in some more porn. A new writer sits in Bing's seat. On their screen, they're watching a Big Shot audition in which Glee has finally had her chance to perform. She's hitting the final note of I Have a Dream. Not very well. She pauses, having given it her all. Very nervous. Judge Hope thinks for a while before he delivers his verdict.
That was achingly terrible. You don't just sing badly, you molest the music in a manner I find personally offensive. You have the magnetism of a towel, an inherent allergy to anything approaching even basic talent. Awful. I don't even want to look at you.
Glee is destroyed, utterly. Charity chips in.
Have to agree. Sorry, love, but you came across as fundamentally unlikable and quite worthless, really.
Right?
Does nothing for me. Fill that cunt with honey and I still wouldn't fuck it.
3 no's. Bye-bye.
Glee is silent, but utterly, utterly devastated. Finally,
You're wrong. You're all wrong. I'm a good singer. I can sing. It's my destiny. I'm a good singer.
security come out and bundle her away while the audience cheer. Kai is shopping. He's buying a Bing shard for his doppel, a shard of perspex his doppel can hold to its own throat. Over this, we can hear Bing's voice.
15,000 new Doppel wardrobe options launched last week alone, which effectively translates as 15,000 new ways to kill time in your cell before you explore an afterlife, which doesn't exist anyway. But with any luck, it'll take your mind off those saddle sores, eh?
We pan across to Swift's bike. She's watching Bing on her screen. It's a tight shot. He's sitting on the tiny bed in the cell we saw at the start, hemmed in by the walls, holding the perspex shard to his throat.
You know, the only thing stopping me slashing myself open right now, I might not die right away. And before I went, they'd find a way to charge my twitching half-dead cadaver 20,000 merits for swabbing the walls clean.
This makes Kai laugh. He's now watching the broadcast on his screen too.
Yeah.
Swift looks at him. She deselects Bing's program, selects the rolling road instead, and silently goes back to pedaling. Interior large apartment, day 9. We see a wider shot of the scene Bing is sitting in. The tiny bed he's seated on in front of a small pencil-sized camera is part of a seat in the one corner of an apartment, far bigger and glossier than the one he had at the start.
Anyway, till next week, hang on in there if you must. And you must, because what else are you going to do? We're all in this together, they say. Yeah, right. Farewell forever. Till the same time next week.
Bing salutes the camera. We hear some closing music playing the lap dance track, and then a beep. Bing relaxes, carefully takes the shard and gently places it in a case on a console table. Beside it, a small table with fresh flowers in a vase. And next to that, an ornate carved wooden penguin. Bing pours himself a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice from a clear glass jug. And he stands before an immense window overlooking a beautiful green forest, resplendent beneath deep blue skies. End of episode.
Nice.
Ooh,
Wow. So that one's kind of intense, huh? Some
it kind of
uncomfortable
reminded
moments.
me of the story of, has anybody ever heard of the story of Harrison Bergeron?
Heard the name.
No? Harrison Bergeron talks about in the year 2081, some of the amendments to the Constitution dictate that all Americans are fully equal and not allowed to be smarter, better looking, or more physically able than anyone else.
Oh yeah, I saw that movie recently.
Yeah, and this 14-year-old is taken away from his parents for defying the government, like because of his looks and brains and stuff. And eventually this 14-year-old literally breaks into this television studio. He defies the government, he declares himself emperor and rips off his handicaps, and he pretty much takes control of this studio, and he tries to take over the world, but he's eventually stopped. And that episode makes me think of a positive alternate ending for Harrison Bergeron.
I'm glad you kickstarted this, Heather, but would everyone else like a break before we continue the discussion?
Sorry, I just had to get that thought out.
No, I appreciate it. And I started by saying stuff myself, so it's all good. I just want to make sure everyone gets a chance to get some water, go to the restroom, and gather
Yeah.
their thoughts and process it. So, all right, we'll come back in about 5 minutes on the 8th. All right, see you guys.
You know what else it also makes me think of? That Rick and Morty thing that we did. This episode, remember that Rick and Morty thing we did? Or were you there for that?
How did it remind you of the Rick and Morty
Can't
episode?
hear you.
Do you know that one that I think it was that one Rick that was defying the government and stuff and locked him and literally, and it was it's kind of like the similar Harrison Bergeron thing.
Yeah.
So this is a more positive.
muted,
alternate
Heather?
ending. What? Like this episode right here is a more positive thing because he
Oh,
stands up to the powers that be and actually has a happy ending for himself in contrast to those two things, the Harrison Bergeron and the Rick and Morty episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this also had some dark moments. I feel like they call it Black Mirror. It's like a reflection of us. It's the dark places we could go on one of the avenues of our current trajectory.
Well, it's quite sad. Like everybody's so willing to like sell their souls just so they don't have to ride those bikes anymore. That's like the most menial of jobs, it seems.
Not the most menial.
They
Most
actually
menial
don't-
is the janitors.
True.
or being on Buster Guts or whatever,
Bother guts.
Bother Guts.
Mhm.
But there's no out. That's the thing, like, there's no out. There's no
Yeah.
way to get. It's this, they're all in this system, then there's no escape from it. It's just
Well,
wherever
that's why I compared it to Harrison Bergeron, because there was no way out, and the one who tried to find a way out had a bad ending. But in this episode that we just read, the one who tried to find the way out of his menialness had a good ending.
But yeah, I didn't think of that before, Angel. You're right. Every single position, maybe even the judges, but except for the judges, seems like
probably still
nothing good. No, there's no good part in any of those lives. Like, not that there's no good parts, but I mean, like, doesn't seem like a good, fulfilling life on any of the positions.
I suppose that's the way society's going, isn't it, though?
Potentially.
People are like so forced into stereotypes by the past and a little bit of the present that there seems to be no escape and no appreciation for diversity, and it's sad.
I don't know if you mentioned this already, but the name of the series, Black Mirror, has the connotation of being like, okay, it's a dark reflection of us, but it's also when your tablets and your phones are turned off, it's a black mirror. So it's usually each episode is a comment on technology in the near future. And then the third, I don't know if this is official, but this is what I picked up, is that like a black mirror is what you use when you're divining the future. It's a scrying mirror. So
I
it
didn't know that one.
has so many layered meanings, the title.
I did think that when they first mentioned his room, they said it's like Black Mirrors, and then they all are screens and stuff. So exactly with what you're saying.
I don't know why you sound so poetic when you said that, Erin. You
It's because
do.
I'm deep and thoughtful.
Yes, it was great. Thank you, Erin. No, that is awesome. Other thoughts, everyone? And first, Vicky, like they had a lot of visuals here, so they had a lot of action descriptions. So thank you for
Yeah.
tackling that.
It's
Yeah,
interesting. Does anybody
screenshots.
know who NB is? Or what NB is? Because there's a lot of references to NB. Can we use this here? Or NB, can we use
That's
this
like a
graphic? And if
binding,
not,
maybe? Maybe not binding? It's
I
like,
don't
because
know.
it seems like it's a comment from the scriptwriter to the director
Yeah,
saying you could use this if you want to, but not
maybe.
necessarily have to.
little note. But it's not really a part of the script.
but most Black Mirror episodes, with the exception of a few, are a negative view of the current situation as it goes into the future. So
Mhm.
most of them end negative, and this one feels very anti-screens, anti-advertising, anti-capitalism. I mean, you can just
And it-
hear like the writer's voice
Anti-diversity,
raging
maybe.
and Bing's, yeah. So when Bing's talking about his his viewpoint. It's kind of the writer's viewpoint. Because I believe they're all written by the same guy. I'm not sure.
You know, I was shocked. I thought he was going to go and use the ticket to kind of go find the girl and save the girl. Instead, he wanted to go give an impassioned speech and threaten to kill himself. And then they took that as him trying to become an entertainer. And they're like, oh, we want to offer you a contract. Then he sells his soul to the government and he says, oh, you know what? This is better than I had it. Screw every other ideology I had.
It's
That's
Yeah.
kind of our society, isn't it?
it seemed to me like he was very sincere, and all they did is see dollar signs or see an opportunity.
Yeah, but
Not
instead of like
actually listen,
standing
they
by his
still didn't
ideology, he
listen.
literally like said, they're offering me something better than I had. Screw my ideology. I'm going to sell my soul and live a little bit more comfortably.
They like I said before, there's no way out. The only way out would have been if he had used the shard, sadly, probably, because they didn't give him any other. There's nothing else. Not that, and so probably it's interesting too, because they've got these guys powering the entertainment. They're powering the show. That's why they're riding those bikes,
Yeah.
which is kind of like if we all have our face in our phones and we go to work so that we can pay for our phones, so we can pay for, all these things. Is it much different? I guess it's only different if we decide to make it different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you never, I have a cell phone, but it does not operate as a phone.
Yeah.
I don't have a SIM card in it. I'm not falling into the trap. I don't live with this in front of my face.
Mhm.
So I don't know what happens to me in that world.
Hey,
So what are you using it
that
as?
away.
I use it for Facebook. I use it for Instagram, and I play a couple of games on it. That's it.
Just connected to Wi-Fi though, correct?
Yeah, it's connected to Wi-Fi when I'm home. Soon as I leave this building, I can't do anything. I can take pictures. That's it. So yeah. Oh, I shouldn't be saying this. It's recorded. They're gonna come and get me now.
Just out of curiosity, I was looking up, I mean, like I know it, but wanted to look at the actual definition of the word merit because, it sounds like credit. So you just think of it as a credit, but the actual definition is the quality of being particularly good or worthy, especially so as to deserve praise or reward. So it's a reward, but like they're doing good and earning merits.
Well, it's basically
By
their
being
worth to
bikers.
society.
Yeah.
Like if they have a high amount of credit, they're worth more. And that's why it costs so much to probably go on that show, is you have to be of high worth to be able to get an audition for something so prestigious.
Well, really, you just buy your
When
way into
it's-
the audition.
Pardon?
You don't have you have a high value merit monetarily, but not a high self-worth.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you have to, in that world, you have to sell your self-worth in order to get a high social value, it seems.
Right.
And
There's
in
an
the
interesting
Mm.
go ahead.
Okay, in the script, it says meters. So I'm guessing that's how many meters they've pedaled. So maybe
Right.
he had to pedal 15 million meters to get enough to buy a pass on the show.
Mhm. I don't know if
just
I was
might-
wondering if they had like left it meters and they changed it later, or if it was meters to merits.
Yeah, when I was reading, I was getting a little confused too, because I read one, then I read that, and I'm all, have I been reading it wrong the whole time?
Yeah, I saw that too. I thought at first they messed up and they meant to put merits, but it was meters the whole way through.
Do you think like some of the stuff at the end is like almost like it's like the keyboard warriors, and then once they get in that situation, then they fold and give into, or kind of like what you were saying before, Angel, like it's sad how they twist it, where he came with this as you're saying too, had like this moral intention, and then he got sucked in, and they were able to manipulate and grab
Oh,
that.
he was
music.
literally like, my life sucks and it's going to suck if I say no. So why not just sell my soul and get a little bit better out of life? I mean, he sold his soul and his ideologies just so he could have a comfortable life because he knew his friend had already done it. So what did he really have to lose? And he didn't want to die. He wasn't serious about it. He really wasn't going to do anything. And even if he had tried anything, I think with all the technology that they had, they would have saved his life and he would have been worse off anyway.
Or let him die and get the highest ratings ever, and that's the people watching it.
Do ratings
then-
matter
then
when
they'll
you're
st-
forced to watch it?
I think he just gave up.
They're only forced to watch the ads so that it
Mm.
will entice you to pay to watch it. That did
He
throw me
got
off at the
every-
beginning. Go
Hmm,
ahead.
sorry. Well, he got everything out, when you're like, you're just, if you're dealing with something and you're keeping it inside, which is what he did. He barely said anything the whole entire show. And then he finally let it all out when he didn't even have anything prepared. He just let everything out. And then it's like a pressure cooker with the valve taken off. All that talk was the valve taken off, and it was all steam escaping until he had nothing left. So
And
all
good
his
performance.
tensions let out.
Good performance reading that, Angel.
Mhm.
And it's cool, like with him doing that, all the audiences resonated with it because they're like, oh, he's speaking the truth. Yes, we're with him. And
Yeah, but then it's the same thing. Like, how do
then they
they?
monetized it.
And it does feel that way sometimes. Like, what can we do in this world? Sometimes it just feels like we can affect our circle, our family, maybe our city. But what kind of difference can we really make in this world? I do think we can, but
Mm.
oftentimes it feels like you can't.
Well, does our presence or our words actually mean anything to anyone, or do they just see us as cheap entertainment?
Well, and
That was-
probably it does. Some people for sure.
And I know that sounds really drastic to say, but sometimes I'm sure all of us wonder, sometimes I wonder, does my presence and do my words actually mean things to some people, or am I just cheap entertainment because I'm a little weird?
Probably both. You probably are both.
We're all cheap
Some
entertainment.
people. Yeah. What were you about to say though, Erin?
Well, I was noticing also that like he kind of was in this position of nothing left to lose because he originally had those 15 million credits because his brother had died
Mm-hmm.
and left it to him.
Yeah.
So here he is, like kind of alone in the world. He spent it on a chance for helping somebody else out. And in the end, there was probably something in his head like, well, my brother did give this to me. I might as well like live a better life. It was probably a consideration. An inheritance.
Hmm.
Now, on another topic similar, I was listening to a podcast earlier to have something to talk about. So this is not my idea, where I didn't notice it myself. But this comes from a podcast called Black Mirror Reflections, and specifically the special guest, Shannon Musset, who was a professor. But she pointed out that there is a mirror storyline of Oliver, the fat guy, and Abby, who goes into the porn. So Oliver starts, you don't see him much, but he's at the beginning and he can't make it as a biker. And then he's demoted to the yellow people, the lower level, the janitors. So we only see him again as a janitor. So we have to imagine that there's another lower level of the janitor cleanup people that are also earning their own merits because he has a quota. He's going to get docked if he doesn't get enough trash. And then he ends up on his own reality show, Bother Guts, towards the middle of it. And there's this sort of equivalent structure of like maybe their way out of being a janitor was to buy a ticket into Bother Guts and being on TV. And both him and Abby are seen having stuff shoved into their mouths. It was the guy's finger for Abby, and for Oliver, and the fat people that are on Bother Guts show are the food stuffed in their face. And all of the fat people are seen as less than, and there's even like the video game that's like the fat attacks. So the middle people doing the biking, they get to look down on people too.
I wonder if like that him going to that wasn't a thing, like you buy a ticket to go onto that show. That's like if you
Or if
you
you
get
fail.
demoted, yeah, from the picking up trash thing, then that's their, okay. We'd have to talk to their writer, I guess. On that note of what you said, I hear everyone here is just reading what's in the script and written in the script. What do you guys feel about them using the word fat within the script? And should they have chosen something different as a different word? Is that fine for this context? Like,
Well, no, because it shows that the social world has a pecking order, and it does. It has a hierarchy, and it's unfortunate because, there should be a lot more respect for people in different classes and who are different, but there's really not.
I mean, like I could see them, like in that case, like using it for the dialogue of what's being said on the show and showing how the characters were talking or how the characters view them, but within the script itself of describing them. Is that
Interesting question. Hadn't thought about it.
all right? Good. I guess
What
something
else
for us to
did they
think about.
choose?
What?
Now, going with what Aaron said, there's actually lower to the yellow cleaning dudes. There's probably someone above the judges
Mm,
that, and it would be interesting to think what, taking that concept, who would that be? And what control do they have over everything?
This also reminds me of Hunger Games. Like there's a specific order in the way things are done, and people try to do better, and then they end up putting themselves in a lot of danger, and people die, and it's all for entertainment.
Yeah.
And this is the way things are. And it took a lot of time for things to change, but who knows if they actually changed. Like Hunger Games novels are still coming out, so we don't know if things actually changed after the last novel, or if they're just going to go back to, I mean, they say they changed, but you never know.
I didn't know there were more coming out.
Well, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is new.
When I was
It's new,
listening
but it's a
to the
prequel.
script for the first time, which was just, at the beginning of the reading today, I
Mhm.
hadn't seen it, hadn't heard it, didn't know anything about it. But even within the first couple of lines, I had this really sort of eerie, pit of your stomach kind of feel,
Yeah.
how it's going to end. And
Oh.
the more and more we went on, the more and more my brain flipped back to George Orwell's 1984.
Oh, yeah.
Which I had to read in 1984 for high school. And one of the things I remember from that, it was written, Orwell wrote it 38 years before 1984, so like 1946. And then one of our assignments was we had to imagine the future 38 years in the future, which would be 2022. So, I was looking all last year, especially at all the kind of, things with AI and intelligence, and see how much of 1984 has actually come true, moving forward into the future here. And one of the things this show does that 1984 also does is you have, there's a love story in there, in this case between Bing and Abby. And, in the end of 1984, these two lovers have to, they get arrested and tortured and whatever. And when they get to see each other again, they have, they've totally wiped out any sort of possibility of love between them. And they just kind of go on their daily lives. And it made me think, in this one, Bing, he obviously had some sort of hope going in the show of something to happen, that his words would change something. And we have, Judge's hope and charity and wrath, right? And I thought it was interesting that hope was the one that's kind of like in the middle, because charity is obviously on one end and wrath is on the other, and hope is the one making the tie-breaking decisions and such. And I thought that was a very significant choice of words, because if you don't have any hope, there is no possibility for love or truth or joy. And when he took Bing's hope away, he's made this passionate speech and his only choices are go back to cycling or to sell your soul, he lost all hope, essentially. And therefore, there is no possibility for joy for him. He just had to choose one or the other. And that was kind of how I came across, this whole, by the end, when as soon as they made that choice for him, it's like, I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know what his choice is going to be, but it's not going to end up well for him no matter what, because
Well-
that's when they just took away any possibility of hope from him.
I think it's interesting as well as that makes me think of the character Glee and how she had such faith and excitement and passion for her own potential and her singing career over the course of a whole year. And then when she finally got to sing, her glee was utterly destroyed and decimated by the judges, who didn't dare allow anyone to be too happy or have faith in themselves.
Yeah.
And she was just utterly destroyed, and glee was destroyed by the wrath and even by the hope, and everything was taken away from her just because she dared to have a little belief in herself. And that's against the system. I don't
Yeah.
want that.
Yeah, it's sad.
There's something there also about the names of the judges, but help me out, because they're Hope. What's the
Charity.
Charity and
Hope,
Wrath.
Charity, and Wraith, which is
Wraith.
spelled like faith, but I think in the show is pronounced wrath.
So do they actually say the names of those characters and the names of Glee? Like, or were those just names in the script? Did they actually express those names in the
I
show?
don't remember.
I don't remember either. I didn't catch that it did in the script itself. I was really like,
I don't think they mentioned Charity's name out loud, and they certainly didn't mention Wraith's name out loud. They might have mentioned Hope's name out loud. But
I-
they might have just been, but I can't remember.
Oh, hi, Mulder.
I know, I was thinking that too. Mulder comes to
Aw.
steer the show, steal the show. Sorry.
Well, I think ultimately it's about control and really trying to take away the hope. Because without hope, people are easier to control.
Right.
And the system is just, there's nowhere to go, like Angel said. It's just this continuous looping and this,
the treadmill.
yeah, this contest,
by
this show to
trouble.
go on. What do they think they're gonna get? Like, nobody's getting away from this control.
That was the other thing too, that what are we buying? We're buying things that aren't even there. They're not real. They're just
Yeah.
representative of something, but
Yeah,
It's-
I'm gonna look at t-shirts, more gray t-shirts.
they're not allowed to keep anything real, not even something that's from the garbage that is a little penguin.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to keep anything real.
Well, that was created. That's got to be one of the worst things you can do, is actually create something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it goes back to the Harrison Bergeron thing. If they go against the grain, if they try to be more intelligent or creative than anybody else, well, they're breaking the law. And that can't
That's
happen
fine.
because that would create a sense of superior and inferiority.
Yeah, and the sense of superiority and inferiority is so contrived. It's not real.
Yeah.
It's false. So that's why there's got to be people above the judges, because if there wasn't, they could listen to him, but they didn't. He asked, could you listen to me? Like, just really listen to me. And no, they couldn't in the end.
Yep, just saw him as a product, saw him as a
Yeah.
whatever.
Not real.
The other thing you can buy with your merits is a moment of peace. Like, I think that's the worst part, is that if you don't have enough merits, you can't stop watching the ads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that hurt.
Yeah. Trying to, and it just
Can't even turn it off, can't even close your eyes, can't even.
At least we get to mute. You don't have to listen, but you try and do that, and it's like, oh, do you really want to do this? You're going to be
But,
punished.
yeah.
For now, we get to mute it, maybe not in the future.
Well, there is a parallel though, like
Just
if
pause
you're
and wait.
struggling financially, it's really hard to think of anything other than the struggle. So
If you're struggling in any way, it's hard to
Yeah.
rise above
Yeah,
the struggle and be useful to society. Like, but when you try to talk to other people who aren't struggling to try and get some help and support, they don't want to hear it. They're like, I don't want to hear this. Just keep it to yourself. I'm not
get-
struggling. I'm fine. So why are you unloading on me? I don't want to hear this. Find a therapist, blah, 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 blah. But therapists are so hard to find, especially in the face of COVID, because virtual appointments are so hard to find and are still hard to find. And the rate for therapy is expensive and not many people can afford it because unemployment's a thing. And the lack of insurance is a thing in the healthcare system. So, yeah, we need to have compassion on each other and be better friends and better listeners, I think, so that people don't feel so alone.
And really listen.
And we need to remember to care.
And
Yeah.
have hope.
And
Doesn't
sharing.
mean-
Wow, you guys are amazing. Look at you guys take the super dark thing that, like, to me it was like totally deflating. You guys are all like building up and hope and good, like, wow. Good job to you guys. Pat on your back.
I think Jacob wants to move on.
No,
You
no.
probably should.
Does anyone else have anything? I know, sorry to call you out. Just want to make sure you have a chance to speak. You haven't said anything yet, Morgan. Do you have any thoughts?
I was just enjoying listening. I haven't seen this episode specifically, but I have seen several Black Mirror episodes and enjoy the show. Recently actually watched the first episode of the new season. If you haven't
There's
seen
a-
it, it's really good.
I didn't know there's a new season.
It's a new season. And the first episode has what's her name? Annie.
Salma Hayek? Oh,
Selma Hayek by Annie from Schitt's Creek.
Oh. Sweet. I like
It's
her.
very good. Definitely watch it.
The whole thing is about AI.
it's very meta. It's
Streaming
very
on Netflix.
applicable. It's like, go ahead, Aaron. I just don't want to say too much.
No, you same thing.
Yeah, it's.
I heard somebody
It-
say, like, why can't we sit down Netflix and make them watch their own show? Because this
I
is exactly
love-
what we're arguing about.
There's a different show or something I was watching earlier today or saw, and I was like, I love that show and that company had the humility or whatever to allow that to happen. And that episode, I love that Netflix was cool with putting that on and having that on their series and stuff. So, yeah, sorry, I'm purposefully not giving you guys all the information for those who haven't seen it. You have to see it to get it, but
I
hopefully
have not
that
paid.
wasn't too
so
obvious.
I've not paid for any streaming service since like the beginning of this strike. I'm like, I really want to watch it, but I'm not going to. I cannot do it. I won't do it.
I'm
I don't
bad.
know
I
if
bought
you-
Paramount Plus.
You what?
I bought Paramount Plus. I'm bad.
You're not bad. Nowhere did they ever say to not get them
No.
or not do it. Like that, some
I
of those
just- it
funds
was
or
my
those
own
things do
thing.
go to.
Well, some days,
support-
like,
Yeah.
it's just easier to stay, like, I get so busy, I just need the sound, so I watch a little streaming and I
Yeah,
work.
and that has your Star Trek stuff that you like.
It does, because
Oh.
it's so
Yeah.
hard to find in Canada, but Paramount Plus Canada does have that, and I do love
Didn't
Star
even know
Trek,
that
so
was
yes,
one.
I'm guilty.
Yeah. Somebody said that, like, yeah, don't cancel your streaming because we still want that money coming in.
Ah. Oh, well. Sorry.
So you've fucked up, Angel.
Well,
Yeah, everyone can do what
All
they
my
want,
fault.
but yeah.
if
It
I
was-
had
yeah.
paid for it, they could have gone another month and gotten something more.
No.
But we do support those who mentioned the strike. We do support the actors as they continue to strike, and we congratulate the WTA for being able to come to an agreement with the AMPTP. So good on you for being able to come to a good agreement. I hope the actors can do the same thing.
Indeed.
Very good.
Any other highlights from the thing you listened to earlier, Aaron? And thank you for doing that research and sharing that with us.
I didn't finish the whole episode, but I'll put a link in the
Mm.
in the live. But yeah, the other thing I noticed, but I haven't figured it out yet, is there a reason for the repetition of the apple? is it like a temptation, an Adam and Eve
The
reference,
Garden
or
of
is it just-
Eden.
yeah. Is it like this is the best we've got, Garden of Eden temptation, or is it just an apple?
Well, if you
Once-
eat the fruit, then you're selling your soul to the devil type thing, I think.
Or you-
One thought that went through my head was, as reading it, is that it is one of the few like natural organic things there, and it gets stuck in the machine, and it is hard to get
Yeah.
and stuff. But
And it was a
Like-
way for him to sustain himself when he didn't have money, he didn't want to spend it, but I feel, yeah, it probably is more than that.
I mean, I was thinking the other thing, but now I think you're probably right. Like that's probably the real reason the writer put it in. I mean, it might have the other stuff. It's but all right, we need to set up a thing that when he's trying to save money later, he can get that for free. Okay, how can we do that?
Notice though how only certain characters eat the apple, and those are the characters that end up selling their souls to the powers that be or the devil in the end.
I did not notice
I
that.
didn't notice that either.
I know it's the two of them got the apple, but is there anyone else that did or didn't?
Did Swift though? Or was it
Swift pointed out how
son?
to get it.
Yeah, but did she ever eat it?
True.
She never went.
Yeah, but I didn't see Swift gave the idea of how to get the apple, but they didn't want the apple for themselves because they'd rather suffer in meniality than sell their soul. And they were mad at those who sold their soul getting victory for selling their soul.
Hmm.
Because they wanted to take the moral high ground.
She was really annoyed with him when that, yeah, because I think she appreciated him because he seemed real.
Yeah.
And
And
then
then
she
he
sees him
changed
on the
it 'cause he
TV
wasn't
and
real
she's like,
anymore.
oh, another idiot who sold his soul for fame. Screw it.
Doesn't want to watch. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
No,
before,
she
like,
was so real. She was sweet and real to him, but he didn't see that. So
Now,
time
I don't have anything clever to say
Black
about it, but Bing was drinking fresh squeezed orange juice at the end.
Mm-hmm. So he got a bit of freedom, is it? Maybe.
I think
What-
it says that there are trees somewhere.
Mm.
Possibly the apple wasn't grown in a petri dish, and yeah,
unless those oranges also were grown in a petri dish or some
yeah.
lab or some indoor thing. But yeah. What
I'd like to think the people that are above the judges actually have trees that grow fruit.
Probably this little
Mhm.
world that's theirs that once you turn 21, you get shoved into unless you're the higher ups. And the other ones are in the actual world.
There's
Yeah.
something
My
interesting
Black
there
Mirror?
too, because most of the Black Mirror episodes don't cross over. They're all different worlds.
Mhm.
Mhm.
However, and I think one or two, the song that appears in this episode and the hot shot billboard appears.
In another
So
one?
that this one episode maybe does cross over into a couple other episodes. So that does imply that there is an outside world and
Interesting.
that they're maybe in some sort of prison, was what I
Mm.
read.
Hmm.
Oh,
I
sort
mean,
of like
that's
the
cool that they do that,
platformer?
but as a creator, sometimes you're like, hey, let's just put out the Easter egg
Yeah.
here. We can put a billboard here. What should we put here? And that's probably, as the creator, that's all they thought. But then other people are like, oh, let me put this
Yeah.
together and do that.
So now
Oh,
you're
maybe they do.
implying it's more like the platform where people are moved around depending on the
Yeah.
decisions they make in each period of time.
Haven't seen that one yet. Is that a good one?
It's about a vertical prison.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
is.
And people are moved to different floors each month, and there's this thing of food that comes down
Mm.
all the way
Oh, the
to,
trailer.
yeah, it's very interesting and very
They don't
spooky.
give too much away. But yeah, I agree. It's good. And again, you can tell it's very well made for a lower budget type film. You could see how they could have made that for a lower budget. Now, not like indie budget, but not as expensive as other similar,
I'm
or I don't
getting
know.
tired. Unfortunately, I'm getting tired. So I
Alright.
think I'm
Well,
gonna
thank you for being here, Heather.
disappear.
We
Okay.
probably can all end though, huh? All right, see you, Heather. All right, next week we have, is it Super 8? Morgan,
Super
are we
8.
reading Super 8 next week?
We sure can. I've cast it already.
All right. Send out the cast thing or send it to us and we'll send it out, however you want to handle that. Exciting. looking forward to that. Any other thoughts, everyone?
Just,
No.
just my cool black mirrors in the background,
The people can see you, but
making
you
it,
can't see them.
making a, what do they call it? A cameo appearance on Table Read Tuesday.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys for reading this episode. Yeah, and I hope our future isn't as dark.
Yeah.
So-
I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I was just thinking if Black Mirror, because that looks like Black Mirror, right? And if there's light in here and it's dark outside, the ones from outside can see inside
Vice versa, yeah.
or something
Yep.
to that,
Mm.
maybe, but we can't see out. Can't see out of the Black Mirror. But those looking in can see in, which is kind of like a television where we can watch out, we can watch them, but they can't watch us.
And all the data they take from us, like again, as soon as he sat down and knew who he was, it can tell if he's looking or not.
Yes.
And, and they already have things on, I think, on your phone that can already do that if you have it activated or want it. Like, so we're just, going down that route toward that direction.
Yeah, whether they intended it or not, there's another
Yeah.
meeting.
Not me, I'm not going. No, no, no.
I don't know. You're still on the phone. You still got Wi-Fi. You're still using those apps, Vicky. It's
Not really. No, I'm not good at it.
But soon you will be on it and you won't be able to see us, but we will see you on YouTube.
Yeah, you're true.
Yes. Cool.
All right, you guys
Good
have a great week, and I'll see you guys next week for
Right.
Super 8.
Good night.
Goodbye, everybody.
Buenos noches. Adios.